Hi everyone, and welcome to the webinar. My name is Roy Nuriel, and I'm Director of Product Management at Perfecto, leading the shift left and dev agenda in our portfolio. Today we're going to do a different webinar, which is going to be much more focused, short, as we like to call it, express webinar. In this session, we're going to talk about the development lab and the environment and some of the challenges that we at Perfecto seen with our customers and overall in the market. And when we start to look at how we can help development teams to optimize their development and help them to provide more feedback, be more efficient, and optimize their development process, we try to understand how their lab really looks like. And this is what we've seen, which in a way wouldn't surprise most of the attendees in the call. Most developers usually work with emulators at the early stages of the development. Before the application is ready, most IDEs, Android Studio, Xcode come with very good emulators or simulators that can really help you to understand how the application works and behaves on specific situations. In addition to that, in most organizations, developer had one or two devices. Usually those are the latest devices, as well as they're running the latest operating system on them, sometimes even the beta version of the operating system. Those are being used for the majority of the development activity. In addition, there is, this cabinet with a mess of devices where wherever I go, I watch those cabinet with a mess of devices. Usually the number of devices is somewhere between 15 to 60. Those devices, someone's trying to manage them, and usually it's a big mess. It's very hard to track those devices. In many cases, they disappear. You need to replicate that cabinet in each location that you go to. And more than that, also from security perspective, in many cases, people take those devices home. Other applications are being installed on those phones or tablets, and later on are being connected to the backend network of the organization. So this is currently how the lab looks like in most of the places. And what we've seen is that solution is problematic in many cases. It's problematic especially, and in this webinar we're going to focus on specific situations where now as a developer I get an issue either from production or from QA that requires specific device or requires specific environment. Those would be the cases that I'm going to this ad hoc lab and I'm trying to find or replicate a specific environment. So as a developer, I now get a defect and I cannot fix it, or it requires a lot of time for me to fix it because I need to set up the environment and that takes a lot of time. Unlike other environments where we can use virtual machines, when we talk about mobile devices, that is much more complex. We know that also emulators will not replicate the end user environment. And we're talking about mobile and web application where the business is driven by those applications. Every minute that we need to spend on fixing an issue is critical for the business. So, and if we go and we look at, a few examples from Stack Overflow, and I'm sure that we have developers on the call that each one has his own example of an issue that you guys faced and you couldn't reproduce it. You needed to get a specific device. It can be an old device which runs an old operating system, or it could be a new device that runs the latest operating system. Those can take a lot of time, especially when we're talking about distributed team. Each team need to have all those devices, which this ad hoc cabinet is not something that we can share internally. Putting aside for a second the discussion about how we optimize automation as part of the development process and what's the need for a lab in this aspect. But when we talk about debugging and fixing issues, there is a clear need for a lab for those cases. So if we take just a simple flow of how a developer would solve an issue that is require setting up the environment, then we just took a day in a life or a day flow where a developer is trying to fix an issue, and then there are a set of activities to try to set the environment, either trying to do that on emulator, replicate it on my device, trying to work the devices from the ad hoc lab, then to go and check if the QA guys have the specific device. And at the end of the day, sometimes it ends up by going to procurement, buying the device in order to solve them. Those issues doesn't happen for any issues, and sometimes they happen once a week, once a month. It really depends on the type of the application. We've seen it more frequent when we have more interaction, when the application requires more assets from the hardware or from the sensors, and that's where the application behaves different. With DevTunnel, with Perfecto, with the new capability that we just released, that flow is going to be much simpler, because the developer will be able to very quickly set up the environment and get access to those devices and quickly debug that capability. So I'm going to move forward and really explain the idea again, as we said, to connect to the cloud, the same way that if you guys are familiar with the way the QA guys are working with our cloud today, developer would be able to connect, and the devices in the cloud will behave and operate like they're connecting with a very long USB cable from the workstation to the cloud. The idea is to really provide them a seamless solution that will allow them to work, or you guys to work with the same tools that you guys are working with today, and really optimize the work. Obviously, there is some kind of performance penalty when you work on the cloud, but you can really work in the same way that you work with a local device at your desk. So now it's time to move and to show you how this capability really works. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you that on Android Studio with Android devices, but that capability can really work with iOS devices as well, and I'm going to touch web a little bit later as well. So what you can see over here, I have a very simple application. It's a calculator. It's an application for tip at a restaurant that I can calculate that, and I now have an issue that I wanna address and solve on specific device or environment. For those of you who are not less familiar, what you see at the right side of the screen, this is Perfecto mobile plugin for Android Studio. We have that for other IDEs as well. And what I just did, I opened the list of devices. What you can see here, those devices are real devices that are connected to our data centers, one of our data centers around the globe. We have 14 data centers distributed all over the world, and you can select one of them. You can see the manufacturer, the model, the version of the operating system, and whether those devices are connected. As well, if those devices are connected to specific network, you can see to which network they're connected. All of those parameters can help you to get the specific device in order to address specific issue that you may need to address and fix. So let's take just a Samsung Galaxy S6 in this case, and we can open it. The device will open at the right side of the screen. It will look quite similar to the way that you see and interact with emulator, although as I said, that's a real device connected to a carrier that you can fully operate with. You can interact with the device, and more than just interacting with the device, you can also change the location of the device. You can change the network of the device, and you can fully interact with it and control it. And you get additional capabilities unlike device that you have connected to your workstation. In this session, I really want to focus on to show you how quick and simple it is to connect to that device and work with it the same way that you're working with a local device. So let's just show you, now I don't have any device connected to my workstation. I'm looking at our plugin, and we have over here a DevTunnel widget, where the only thing I need to do is to click on that widget. What it does behind the scene is set up the ADB connection to this device, allowing me as a developer to fully work and interact with this device. I can do it for each device on the cloud. I can select also tablets or any other device that I want for this purpose. Now I'm initializing the connection, and from that moment it will allow me to work the same way that I'm working with a local device. See where this device is located. You see this device is with other locale. We'll connect to this device. We'll try to connect to it. Okay. Now we have the connection initialized, and you can see that now this device appears as a device that is connected to my workstation. So that's the Samsung Galaxy S5 device that we have over here connected. In this case, I can now run a local compilation, and the application will be compiled locally, uploaded to the cloud, and will be deployed on that device. The same way, I can also use all of the debug capabilities. I can set breakpoints and really debug on that specific device. So from that perspective, as we said, this is equivalent to a local they have connected in. You can see that now the compile the process that is running locally on my computer is running. Once that's done, then the application will be uploaded to the cloud, deployed on that device on the cloud. By the way, I mentioned it before, the same thing can work also when you're working with iOS devices. That's now enabled to our customers, so you can take any iOS device and from our web interface connect and interact with this device and compile. So what you just saw, compile ran. Now I have my application over here. This is the application. I can interact with it. Obviously, I had set over here a breakpoint in this case, but very simply, the same way that you guys are familiar with, you can set breakpoints and work with this device. I just want to show you one more thing before I open it to question, and I'm trying to keep it short in the sake of your time. So also I can open, this is our web interface. I can do the same thing and interact with devices from here. I'm doing it because I want to show you that also a web developer can leverage that capability for their web application. So let's take for now Galaxy S7 Edge. Doesn't really matter. Those devices can be whatever device that we choose. And I can work with Chrome Inspect in order to interact with that device. So as you can see, that's the device that we open, the same interface that we have from the plugin. I can open right now Chrome browser, and I can open Chrome Inspect. Interact with this device the same way. So you can see over here, I can interact with this device the same way that I'm interacting with the local device connected to my computer. So that was a quick demo. We have more information available in our site. We'll give it a second to refresh here, so you will see that this is the device. You're welcome to come to our website and watch some more videos and how-tos. So that's in a nutshell for today. More information is available in our site in the developer section, and you can see get some helpful links, documents, and tips on how to connect and leverage the cloud for that perspective, for that purpose. So this is for that quick and very focused webinar. I'm going to open it for questions. So there's a question over here, do we integrate also with Bamboo and other CI environments? So the answer is yes. You are welcome also to go to our website to see how that can be done, but definitely that's how Perfecto can help you to drive automation and to execute automation as part of your development process. So in regards to devices and how many devices, it really depends on the type of the cloud that you're working with. There is a question on how many devices that I can connect. So if you want to connect from the CI, you can connect to as many devices you have in your cloud. With DevTunnel, you can connect to one device in each session. Another question that we have here, do we have an API that you can leverage in order to connect and work with the cloud? So the answer is yes. We do have API that you can leverage to integrate our cloud to any tool or solution that you're working with. There's a question here, what would be the process to debug iOS application? So the process would be similar to the one that I just showed. What you will do, you will open the web interface, you will connect, you will set up, initiate the connection to the device, and from there you can work with form Xcode, select the device and debug on that specific device. I encourage you to go to our website and you will see some videos and additional materials and guidance on how to do that, both for Android application, web application, as well as iOS application. So no need for, there is a question if there is a need for a Chrome plugin. In order to connect with DevTunnel, there is a need to install a client locally on your computer. From that moment, you can initiate the connection, no need for any plugin for Chrome. So I think those are kind of the main questions. There is one last question in regards to, can I use it for other activities rather than debug? So the answer is yes. One example can be to execute espresso test if you're an Android developer and you want to execute your espresso test locally on a remote device. One last question that comes from Dirk is, does it emulate the USB connector? So the way that the solution basically do it emulates that, and it gives you the same experience as you have a local device connected to your workstation. There are, in general, all the commands that are available to local device are supported, with very few limitations in regards to killing the process and those kind of things that we manage. But aside of that, everything is fully supported. I'll answer one last question, which is kind of, do I need to know a coding to run the debugging? So The solution really serve and focus for developers to debug their application rather than debug their test. And if you're a developer, you do need to know how to debug and develop your test. So those are kind of the main questions. The other one we can answer offline. I want to thank you for joining to the webinar. If you need additional information, we'll be very happy to either answer you through the chat dialogue that we have on our website, or we're going to send you all the information, and you are welcome to contact us to get more information. We do encourage you to go to the website, learn more, and our main goal is to help you to be more efficient and focused on innovation and reduce the debugging and other setup time that you're doing. So thank you very much for joining. Looking forward to see you at the next webinar. Thank you.